Welcome to Inside the Vocal Salon, the space where voice teachers, coaches, and singers come together to learn, grow, and stay inspired. I'm your host, Michael Sean Harris, and each week we'll explore the art, science, and business of teaching voice through honest conversations and shared experiences. So, if you'd like to connect with other voice professionals and access live masterclasses and exclusive resources, join our online community by subscribing at linktree/reggae online. Now, let's step inside the vocal salon. Hi, welcome to another episode of Inside the Vocal Salon. I'm Michael Sean Harris, and my guest today is a very good friend of mine, Lori Burnett. We've worked together for ages. She's a soprano. She's an amazing voice teacher, an amazing person. I won't say too much. Lori, hi, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yay! Thanks for agreeing to
No
come on.
problem.
And so you, when we spoke, I think we determined that your our topic that you would discuss is from practice to performance,
Yes,
learning classical repertoire with ease.
right.
Right. So before we even begin there, just tell very briefly, just tell us a little bit about your background with classical performance.
Okay, so I studied classical singing, um, went to the University of New York, Fredonia, um, and did classical voice there. Had the opportunity to come back home to Jamaica
Mhm.
and impart the knowledge I learned and the experience and exposure I garnered while at college was so rich. So we did opera scenes, we did operas, we had competitions, various performances, orchestral work, you name it. So it was rich, it was fun, it was heavy, but it was fun. And so I want to at least try and help students and
Mhm.
persons who are going through that process now, or persons who are performers who have a little difficulty just learning the repertoire,
Mhm.
just to share some tips that can help them in the process.
Right. And you've been
Yeah.
teaching for a while, teaching and performing for a
I've
while
been,
now.
yes,
Yeah.
at the Edna Manley College of the Visual and Performing Arts.
Wow.
I did 7 years, kind of took a break, and I'm
Yes.
back there now.
Okay.
So, yes, it's
So they're
something
lucky
that
to
I,
have you, boy.
I love.
Mhm. They're lucky to have you. Yes.
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Let's jump right in. Let's jump right in. So yeah, yeah. What are some of these from these years of performing and teaching that the techniques that you've arrived at
Mhm.
for you know learning classical repertoire easily?
Right. And before I begin, just to say that this doesn't only apply to classical repertoire, but we're focusing on classical repertoire today because that's my main area.
Right.
But anybody, if you're singing reggae, jazz, whatever it is, you can apply these steps
Okay.
to the learning process. So the
Hmm.
first thing I would tend to do is research.
Okay.
Research the background of the piece or work. If there is historical background or otherwise, it's good to do some research. That then would inform how you treat the piece, how you style, the character you are playing, the gestures you need to use, how you move on stage, that sort of thing. The language, all of these would
So when you
inform. Yes,
when
go
you're
ahead.
talking about research, you mean like why was a piece written or where was it written, who wrote it, what the
Composer,
situation is?
everything.
Yes. Okay.
Composer, everything. And it might be in a foreign language. So
Mhm.
it's good to dig a little deeper, get the translation, the diction. We use the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA, to help us.
Mhm.
It's our guide as to how to pronounce these foreign words. So it helps to, before you even start looking at the music, to just look at the background of the piece.
Right.
Right. It really
Okay.
does help. So research is important. Um, and we know if it's from an opera, then there is a story, there's a plot, and you are a character in that story.
Mhm.
And so it's important to know, okay, how does my character fit in with everything else that is going on? When I am singing, how does the music then help me to develop on my character?
Right.
So it's important to research the piece.
Yeah, because there's quite a bit of acting involved with singing.
Yes, it is.
Sometimes people
Yes.
forget that.
Oh yes. Oh
Yeah.
yes. And we can't look like we're um in La La Land on stage. So
Yeah.
it would help to kind of have that background.
Some kind of connection to the, yeah.
A connection
Mm.
to the songs, connection to the character.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So
Yeah.
research, great.
Research. Research. And then when we get down to the music, I would I would isolate the text from the music first,
Okay, okay.
right? So we did our research, and that's just historical. And, you know, whether it's because some pieces aren't deeply rooted in history, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
but the composer might have had an emotional connection to the piece. They probably dedicated it to someone important to them. So, in terms of research, those are the things that we look at. Now,
Mm-hmm.
when we're talking about isolating the text from the music, something completely different. The text now, this will help you reading through the text, the focus being on understanding, pronunciation, expression, right? If you're fluent in reading through the text and understanding the text, then it will help you to be fluent in delivering the text through music.
Okay.
So isolate the text from the music. Once you're comfortable, the foreign language, speaking the words, that sort of thing, then we can put the music, the words and the music together and have a nice harmonious marriage happening,
Okay.
right? So that's the text. The music now, it's
Mm-hmm.
the whole part, whole um, approach to music is what we would engage. So
Explain that whole part, whole.
you listen to the whole, you listen
Mm-hmm.
to the music as a whole, and then the next process would be to break it down in parts.
Okay.
So listen to the rhythm, work on melody, that sort of thing, and then put it back together as a whole,
Okay.
right? So the rhythm sometimes can be challenging, and we need to separate that from the melody,
Okay.
right? And then we
Mm-hmm.
put them together. So that's the whole approach when learning music.
Okay.
Break it down, put it back together.
Right. I mean, I've heard it referred to as breaking it into chunks and dealing
Break
with
it,
small, into
break
little
it,
chunks and then putting it back together.
right. In conducting, they use the term whole part whole.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
right. So it's the same thing. breaking it into chunks, right?
Yeah.
So the next thing I would say is consistently marking up your score is very important. Be consistent in doing so. Don't be afraid to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
this would now incorporate the part in the whole part whole.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
the breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
So you use a pencil, of course. We don't use pens on our scores. Use a pencil, highlight where you're gonna breathe, highlight the phrasing, the contour of the phrasing. That would now help you to deliver it a little better. What vowels to sing, what vowels are going to be modified, how
Mm-hmm.
to color certain words, how to accentuate, what words to accentuate, and so on. So this is a very important part of the process, breaking it down, using the pencil, going through the score, putting in your markings. Yes.
Okay. I
And
mean, I've seen some scores that are so marked up you can barely see the score, but all but all the notes and the directions are on it.
yeah, we understand it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
understand it. Once you can see the melody line, once you can see the notes, you're fine. We
Okay.
understand it. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
and for the pop singers, for the jazz singers, you may not have a score, but in your listening, you can make mental notes.
Right.
Where do I breathe? How do I interpret this
Mm-hmm.
phrase?
Yeah.
Um, and it's more personal when we look at those genres, right?
Right.
We have standards, right? Jazz standards. We have
Mm-hmm.
how they, maybe the original person would have sung the song, but once we have decided to take on a piece, then we
Mm-hmm.
personalize it. We have to sit down and kind of work out a map as to how we're gonna,
Right.
you know,
And for
navigate.
the pop and the jazz stuff, I mean, what we encourage,
Hmm.
speaking from my perspective, is that we encourage that if you are doing an arrangement of a pop song or a jazz song, that you will create your own lead sheet anyway in your key and in your arrangement, what sections you're going to do. And so you
Correct.
can mark that up, or you can mark up your lyric sheet as well. But we really, for the singers, for the 2025 singer, vocalist, we're encouraging that kind of fluency and that kind of independence where
Yeah.
you kind of take charge of what your arrangement is going to be. You're not relying necessarily on somebody else to do that for you. Yes, it's fine to collaborate, but you should be kind of knowledgeable and in charge of what you're doing.
I like that you use the word independence because the culture here, let me speak to the culture here a little.
Hmm.
We
And you
are
say
not
here, so we know where you are.
in
You're in
Jamaica.
Jamaica, right?
I'm in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica,
Yeah.
and our students aren't really exposed to formal music at an early age.
Right.
So when we see them, they're in their late teens, early 20s, and
Right.
upward, right? And so there is that dependence on the tutor to
Hmm.
kind of take you step by step through the process. By giving persons these tools, it helps them, even at that stage, to kind of make their way, find their way through,
Hmm.
and not be so dependent on the tutor to take them through. So
Right.
I like that you because once we are independent as musicians, I believe that we have completed half the journey already.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so this is something important that we really need to teach our students how important it is to be independent. You do the legwork, right? The teacher gives you the tools, but you do the legwork and then we come together and we kind of just define.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's important.
Okay, great.
Um, the last thing I wanted to touch on is once we get through those stages, the research, the isolating, the breaking down um, in chunks, as you
Mhm.
say, um, putting back together, then we can look at who we're collaborating with. It could be an orchestra, it
Mhm.
could be a band, it could be just a pianist or another instrumentalist. It's important to know their part as well.
Right.
So it's not just you, the singer, in your own little world. You are now becoming a part of a bigger world.
Right.
So the moving parts need to be known.
Mhm.
Know what instruments, if it's an orchestra, what instruments are playing certain parts. How does that know help you to know your part, to know where you fit? So it's important that your knowledge goes beyond what you have in front of you, which is your music, your
Yeah.
folder,
And
right?
singers have, I mean, there's a bad reputation for singers that they're just kind of self-absorbed and self-involved, and it's just about them. They have these blinders on and say, "Well, I know my part."
Yeah.
So, and we want to move beyond that because,
Yes.
singers, and that's why sometimes they don't even think of themselves as musicians, but singers are musicians, and you have to fit into an ensemble or into a collaborative experience. And
Exactly.
when you know what someone else's part is, you know when you need to shut up or when you need to back off or where your part fits in. You know.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
There is a what we call a dance, a very intricate dance that takes place once the singer is um I don't want to say intelligent,
Mhm.
musically intelligent, but
Aware.
once the singer is aware and informed of not just their part, but what the accompanist, what the pianist, what the orchestra is doing, then there is this very delicate dance. It's intricate. It's the ins and the outs, and
Right.
it at the end of it, the feeling of gratification that you get cannot compare to anything else. So
Right.
it's in your best interest to do your part, but also embrace becoming a part of the bigger picture.
Right. And I mean, there's this concept of the diva, and it's a very old-fashioned concept. And yeah, again, we want to move beyond that,
We
uh,
want to move beyond that.
because
Yeah.
being a diva doesn't serve anyone, not even yourself.
Not even because then you're isolated and you're
Exactly.
always
Yeah,
on
because
one,
nobody
and we
wants to
don't,
work with you.
nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So
So teachers, don't encourage that. Don't encourage the diva behavior, please.
no, no, no. So for persons who feel that okay, I've just been given a very complicated piece of music to learn, look at it as a whole. Look at it and say, okay, you're challenging. I see you, but um, take it, break it down, put
Hmm.
it back together. You'll be the better for it. So what would have looked like a mountain at first, at the end of the process, you'll have a molehill in front of you.
Right. Is that
Yeah.
old saying, how do you eat an elephant? Right? One bite at a time.
Even if it takes days.
Exactly. So, yes.
Yes, it's not a quick process.
Hmm.
It's timely, it's measured, it's specific, it's targeted.
Hmm.
Um, so when one goes into a practice room, I mean something practice is something that
There you go.
is done repeatedly. It becomes habitual. So You have to be patient. There are going to be some off days, some on days. And if it's not working, you're feel free to put it down for a while, go do something else, pick it up back, and start the process all over again. But
Mhm.
it's a process. Use
Right.
that word carefully. It is a process. It's not a quick fix. And there are some persons who do not have a good grasp of theory.
Yeah.
This is classical music I'm referring to now, where you
Hmm.
have the score that you have to work with, complex rhythms, melodies, that sort of thing, and then to overcome the whole thing of vocal technique, just getting a handle on that adds to the complication. But if we approach it in this way, using these little tools, they're simple, but
Hmm.
they make a huge difference at the end of the day. So,
Right.
if you use these tools, what looks at first to be so difficult and overwhelming will really make it doable. And when the final performance comes around, you will see that, okay, the work I have put in really did make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you have to work. You have to work. It's not gonna happen until, unless you work.
have to work.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
escape it.
That's right. Some people try. Some people try.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it shows when they don't. You know. Yeah.
it
When
does show.
when performance time comes and you didn't do the work, it'll be laid bare. Especially singers, because you're in front. You're in front usually, and
Yes,
and and everything you did or didn't do is gonna show up.
it's going to show. It's gonna show. The introduction is given and you miss your cue.
Yeah.
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 Um, so it's important
Yeah.
to do these steps.
Yeah. And do them with some humility, as we
And don't
walk.
be afraid to ask for help.
Exactly. And it's easier with the humility. It's easier, it's received much more readily from others when you're humble in your approach, and
Exactly.
you're asking for help. People are ready to help, you know,
Exactly.
ready to
Exactly.
assist you. Yeah, so that's great. So the those steps, and for if you want these steps, we're gonna have Laurie's notes. I'm gonna have them prepared for you, and we'll share a link. You can download them. But just to give those the recap of those steps, research was the
Mm-hmm.
first one. So do that work, finding out about the background of the piece, that kind of stuff. Isolate. You have to
Mm-hmm.
separate the different aspects of the piece, the melody, the rhythm, etc., and work with them individually, and then put them together. Then be consistent in making your notes and marking up your score, and all those things. Even with the breaking apart and putting together, you have to be consistent with that as well, because there are times when you will think you've learned something and you're going through and say, "Oh no, I don't really know that yet." Go backwards and pull it apart again, put it back together, and then practice, 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 practice. Yeah,
Practice.
yeah.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Laurie. Yay!
You're
So,
most
hopefully, once we get this started, once we get people in the vocal salon, then we can ask Laurie to come back and do a proper masterclass with the teachers who
welcome.
are in the vocal salon.
Sounds
Laurie has so much knowledge, like more than she even know. You know, Laurie makes magic happen with these students. I've seen it over and over and over again. So,
thank you.
yeah, man, you're more than welcome. It's only truth. So, thank you, thanks, Laurie. Laurie, you can look in the show notes. We'll have Laurie's socials and other things in the show notes. She didn't want to share them on screen, but we'll have them in the show notes. So, yeah, thanks again, Laurie. So,
Thank you.
yay! All right, cool. So that's it for this one. This Inside the Vocal Salon. Thanks for spending time with us inside the Vocal Salon. If you enjoyed today's episode, please follow and leave a quick review. It really helps other teachers find the show and join our growing community. And don't forget to visit linktree/reggae online to join our online community, where you'll find live classes, resources, and a support network of voice professionals from around the world. Until next time, keep lifting voices, including your own.